Antes de empezar con el podcast de hoy, quiero invitarte al curso de Pensamiento Complejo, Crítico, Multidisciplinario y Sistémico en Salud, que está por empezar el 5 de octubre. Este curso y esta comunidad somos personas que estamos cuestionando los paradigmas actuales de salud y bienestar y estamos co-creando las nuevas posibilidades para el futuro de esta industria, de esta técnica, de esta metodología y de esta cosa que nos interesa tanto a todos, que es la salud y el bienestar. Más información en victorsadia.com/cursos.
I became convinced that we weren't going to transform healthcare based on whole food plant-based nutrition, that we were going to transform healthcare based on the field of lifestyle medicine as we advocate for lifestyle medicine to become the foundation of health and all healthcare.
Welcome to Back to the Future podcast. My name is Victor Sadia, and I talk with brilliant minds and hearts of people who want to uproot and transform the current health and wellness paradigm. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today we have Susan Benigas. Susan Benigas is the Executive Director of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. She is the co-founder of the Plantrician Project and the International Plant-Based Nutrition Healthcare Conference. She received ACLM's inaugural President's Award for outstanding achievement in advancing the field of lifestyle medicine. Susan, thank you so much for being here.
Victor, it's my pleasure.
So a few months ago, we were exchanging emails and you were talking about the passion for why most physicians went into medicine, which is to become true healers. And this is something that needs to be talked about more and more because we sometimes forget the mission of medicine itself. What happened with you when you questioned what medicine should be, and what are you doing now to address that?
Well, yes, Victor, absolutely. I do believe that lifestyle medicine does reignite the passion for why so many went into the field. Because people go into the field because they want to help people. You know, they want to reverse disease. They want to usher in health restoration. And that is one of the things, probably the most definitive concept that separates lifestyle medicine from what has really become a system focused on disease management. You know, so often the status quo now is to diagnose symptoms and treat those symptoms with ever increasing quantities of pills and procedures. Whereas lifestyle medicine, you know, we really advocate for a first approach that's focused on identifying and eradicating the root cause of disease whenever possible. So the clinical outcome goal is health restoration as opposed to simply disease management. And that really is inspiring. And so for me, it really goes back. I'd been in the healthcare space. I was president of a worksite health promotion company, and we would do what most health promotion companies do. We'd go in and do biometric screenings and health risk assessments. When anyone was found to have a chronic condition or multiple risk factors, we'd say, well, you need to see your primary care physician and get a script. And then it was about beating the drum of medication persistency. And I didn't know better at the time. I was just falling in line with the status quo, really a disease and disability care system and not really a healthcare system. And I was invited to a presentation by a local oncologist. And this was back late 2007. And when she opened up her presentation, she was talking about what poor health she had found herself in her early 50s. Fibromyalgia, a skin condition, arthritis. And she held up a book and said, but this book has changed my life and it's changing the lives of many of my patients. And it was the China study by T. Colin Campbell. Well, I had never heard of either. But because I was in this state of really starting to question the fact that, you know, I was like, I just don't think God's designed us all to become chronically ill and dependent on pharmaceuticals. And yet, you know, we have 70% of all Americans, 90% of all seniors taking prescription meds. And in the United States, we spend more on pharmaceuticals than the rest of the world combined. So I knew something was just not right here. So I go out and buy the book, read it, and oh my goodness, I refer to it as the most paradigm shifting read of my adult life because it connected those dots not only about our food choices and their relationship to our optimal health or lack thereof, but also really shining a light on the fact that we didn't really have a healthcare system in the United States, and I've now learned in many parts of the world, but this disease and disability care system. So it really rocked my world and then set me on this path that led to, it just completely changed the trajectory of my personal and professional life.
So tell me a little bit about that moment when you said you had this paradigm shift and Susan became another person. And at that moment, I guess you didn't know exactly where you were going, but in a way you understood that the how would matter and would impact much more. So you started a bunch of projects, but what about that specific moment where your world was rocked and you said, I need to do something different?
Mm. Well, yes. I mean, it was this just light bulb illuminate. I mean, why I had never, again, I was running a worksite health promotion company. I had partnerships with major insurance companies across the country, and it had never just really occurred to me. When you think about dietary lifestyle, we think about what we eat and will it make me fat or not? But there really wasn't that recognition of that every bite we take is either a step in the direction of health or a step in the opposite direction. I just had, for some reason, I just not thought about that. I'd not thought about food as medicine. And I sort of was just blindly assuming that our healthcare system really, was a healthcare system. And so when this light bulb moment happened for me, I became just voracious in my research. And it led to, within a couple of months, I had a face-to-face meeting with Dr. T. Colin Campbell. He then introduced me to Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who wrote Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. And then I remember when Caldwell called me and he said, hey, Susan, I have this son named Rip Esselstyn, and he's got a book coming out next week. It's called Engine 2. I mean, I cherish some of those moments. This was back like 2008 and into 2009. So just through this relationship, I started to meet many of the people who are considered the real generals of the field, the real trailblazers of the field. And I became aware through my research of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine at the time, which at the time was a volunteer physician-led organization. It was physician only at the time. And I'm not a physician, so I couldn't be involved at the time, but was very in tune because many of the leaders of this field were founding members of the board of advisors of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. And I began to voraciously read. I started to read The Pleasure Trap and Overdosed America and, many of the books, Healthy at 100, Diet for a New America, and just becoming a student of the field to really, truly understand. And I became convinced that we had to have a broad sweeping shift of dietary lifestyle, not only in this country, but around the world, and that we needed to reach medical professionals because the vast majority had not been trained in this. And that is what then was the impetus for my founding the Plantrician Project, which I did in 2012. So, in that interim from like 2008 to 2012, I was still working on other projects and, still running the other company. But I decided to leave all that. And really, I felt so compelled. And so the Plantrician Project was about developing educational events, tools, and resources to educate, equip, and empower medical professionals and those they serve about food as medicine, about using whole food plant-based nutrition. Then in partnership with Scott Stoll and Tom Dunham, started the International Plant-Based Nutrition Healthcare Conference. The first one was in the fall of 2013, drew about 220 people from 6 countries, which was awesome. And then that led just, within a few months to real strategic conversations with the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, because there started to be crossover between people that we were involved with and because the American College of Lifestyle Medicine really in its 6 pillars, dietary lifestyle is such an important one, and advocating for a whole food plant predominant dietary lifestyle. And so just to, kind of put a closing sentence on this sort of phase of my journey, I became convinced that we weren't going to transform healthcare based on whole food plant-based nutrition, that we were going to transform healthcare based on the field of lifestyle medicine as we advocate for lifestyle medicine to become the foundation of health and all healthcare. And so when I was recruited and invited to join the American College of Lifestyle Medicine as its executive director recruited in late 2013, I made the decision in early 2014 that this was going to be my life's mission. And it really aligned. It was like I could see how everything I'd done throughout all the years of my career were really culminating for such a moment as this. Because I truly believe, Victor, that this is one of the most important issues of our time, that lifestyle medicine is about bringing health, hope, and healing to a world that so desperately needs it, and to really, again, educating, equipping, and empowering medical professionals, and again, those they serve, about the simplicity and beauty of using evidence-based therapeutic lifestyle intervention to treat and reverse already existing chronic non-communicable disease, but also, to prevent that disease. And so it's been exciting to be on this journey, and I've been with ACLM since the spring of 2014.
So I think it's amazing that you had all this, experience running political campaigns and serving as executive management and consultant roles from, professional sports and media to healthcare technology. And as you said, the worksite health promotion. And you have all this experience with strategic planning, public relationship, development in internet-based solutions. And, you came into a movement that was just beginning inside the House of Medicine, where all these experience and expertise weren't really there because they were all physicians. And in a sense, this speaks to the opportunity that medicine is inviting professionals from other disciplines, not only in the health professional area, but in general, to build a movement that transcends also the medical arena and the medical house. And I guess that's one of the best promises that lifestyle medicine has, that it will go beyond health or medical education.
Victor, you are so spot on, because it takes a team. We advocate for lifestyle medicine in the clinical sense being an interdisciplinary team-based approach, where the physician's the quarterback of the team, but it's that interdisciplinary team. But on the more macro scale of advancing the field and for advocating for what we're doing, it takes business skills, marketing skills, communication skills, partnership skills. And it isn't just the clinician on their own to champion this. It takes all of us coming together. And I'm not a clinician. I bring the organizational leadership and marketing, event communications, and it was because I think I look back over my career and all those experiences, that was the skill set that was needed for an organization like this. That's an organization that's on the leading edge of transformation. We are on a mission to transform health and redefine healthcare. And certainly it's all based on the clinical, it's based on the evidence-based therapeutic lifestyle intervention, for which there is overwhelming evidence that supports the efficacy. But we also know that facts don't change behavior, stories do, right? So it's the power of the story, it's the marketing, it's really understanding also, we have the what, but we have to understand the why. And we have to communicate to not only the clinician, certainly to the clinician, it's like, why? Why should you care about lifestyle medicine? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to your patients? And so this is a very multifaceted approach. And as we have built our organization, we have 6 distinctive departments. We, of course, have an education department. Our first department was like really events, and then partnerships, and then education, and then marketing, communications, and then research. And research is so important, but that takes a lot of resources. And so that's why it was sort of like the 6th department that we've added. And then within those, certainly building out, more depth and breadth. So as ACLM has grown over time, it's all of these multifaceted components that are essential, from membership to events to all these that really grow the organization in the field and support the clinical practice of those who we serve as members.
How can we leverage the importance of building the movement inside the house of medicine and being, research led and also evidence based, while at the same time knowing that health professionals from other areas, not only in the house of medicine, but psychology, coaching, nutrition, oral health, are also part of this equation and part of this movement, and in the same plane of importance, in a sense, so that the doctor can keep humanizing his or her profession by working with others who might not be in school for so many years, like the doctors, but at the same time, they have other approaches with patients, other worldviews on how health and wellness is created. And that, I guess, the medical field, because it has been focused for a long time in acute disease,
Right.
and in this pharmaceutical, surgical approach to treating it, might lack a bit of that. And I'm obviously generalizing, but I think there's a point there to discuss on how to integrate several schools of thought in the same purpose.
Well, yes, and I mean, I will say that in the United States, of course, where I work and where I'm most familiar, there is this, as I said, sort of this integrated team-based approach. So as we, certainly, the House of Medicine, and where that is concerned, it was in 2016 that the American Board of Lifestyle Medicine was established as sort of a sister organization to the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. And the American Board Lifestyle Medicine then hosts the certification exam for MDs and DOs. And so very much in line with ABMS. And yet, because as I expressed, and as you know, lifestyle medicine, this interdisciplinary team-based approach, ACLM, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, then hosts the certification of the non-MDs and DOs, those that are identified to be part of this clinical practice team. And that's why ACLM, even though initially it was MD-DO only and PhD, expanded in 2012 to also welcome allied health professionals and even those in professions outside of the clinical realm that are dedicated to advancing the field. And some that you just mentioned, I mean, it's like oral systemic health. It's, the inextricable connectedness of these things, even like ocular health, whether it's the dental health or ocular health. I mean, they're a window into so much of the overall health. And so it's really very connected. And so I think that's why we're seeing such tremendous growth in our member interest groups. We have over 24 member interest groups that represent everything from, pharmacists to sleep medicine to, they represent different constituencies within that clinical practice team, as well as specific subject matter that falls under the lifestyle medicine umbrella as well.
Okay, let me pose another difficult question, which is related to the alliances we are creating with brands and companies to also, allow for this paradigm shift to happen, and also to get funding for all the things that we're doing. And we have this policy of sponsorship where, several companies are not eligible to be sponsoring our events for obvious reasons. They are not at the base of the pyramid where there's only lifestyle. There's not even, nutraceuticals or other types of medical and physiological approaches, not to say obviously surgery and prescription drugs. But at the same time, I've been thinking a lot, and I'm not, I'm trying to advance the idea here. I'm not trying to change anything yet, but we're seeing many companies that might have conflict of interest by approaching us as lifestyle medicine. But at the same time, they have a vision for the future, And if we just close the doors and say, until you change completely, you won't be able to cross that door, we might be closing many opportunities to co-create new things. We are just beginning here in Mexico and Latin America with this. And obviously we need to state who we are before we start engaging with everyone. But an institution as mature as yours, and you're maturing every year, how can you keep approaching big companies with a certain degree of conflict of interest, but they are very interested in really understanding lifestyle medicine and working and pushing lifestyle medicine? Are you seeing this in the US, and how are you deciding on these things?
Well, this is a big topic because I've shared with you before that there is quite a contrast. Just a few years ago, when I went to my first American College of Cardiology National Convention, big 14,000 attendees, exhibit floor with 265 exhibitors, and 260 of them were either tied to a pill, a procedure, an intervention, and then there were just a handful, such as the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, that was one of the exhibitors, and that were more just something that was not in that more pharmacological or interventional realm. And so it does present a bit of a challenge. We early on established sort of vetting criteria where any type of corporate sponsor or exhibitor that wanted to align with our annual conference, for example, there were certain criteria, because sometimes it just was not a good fit. Because even it's not as though we're endorsing someone that becomes an exhibitor at our conference, but there is some sort of an inferred kind of relationship there. So we do that, and not everyone who wishes to be tied in with our conference is permitted to do so, but it's really more their endorsement of the field of lifestyle medicine and of ACLM than it is our endorsement of them. Because this is a challenge, certainly. But we have gone on and started a corporate roundtable and have a just incredible convening of corporate partners, purveyors of products and services and insurers, health systems. We were getting such traction within health systems that we've also started a health systems council now that has, I think, nearly 30 health systems, and that's something that's been done recently. So I think that the marketplace is understanding that the status quo is just simply unsustainable. And so there is such momentum that is happening, certainly as we shift to more value-based care and away from fee-for-service. And we're seeing in the United States just a proliferation of entrepreneurial efforts that are just really coming onto the scene, into the market, to fill this growing demand of lifestyle medicine programs and services. So we're encouraged by what we're seeing, and certainly sustainability of our organization has been something that has been a top priority for many years since I started with ACLM, and diversifying our revenue streams is something that we have been very intentional about, that has helped to create a very firm foundation for our organization.
Thank you, Susan, because I think that these hard questions are more important than ever, because when you start reading all about as you said, your paradigm shift, you immediately see who the responsible entities are, and you start, in a sense, almost hating them for their irresponsibility with society. And I mean here companies and governments, and we can stay in that narrative where we are the good guys, you are the bad guys, and we can be at war forever. Or, in a sense, calling people by their names, but also understanding that precisely the systems are who made those institutions that way, and that we must not only be in communications with them, but in a way co-create something new. and transcend this pointing of fingers of who did what. And that's something that I guess that we can be angry for a lot of time, but at some point we will have to make friends with those of us who affected us for a lot of, for a long time, and believe that with the right information and the right intention and through community and with complex thought and with all the skills that you have pointed out, we can certainly shift to another direction altogether. How do you see this happening in the next 10, 20 years?
It is very much about looking for collaborative opportunities. It's about bringing people together. I mean, we're all in this together, and healthcare is a finite resource and it's a shared resource. So it takes all of us really understanding that each of us individually, as families, as communities, as nations, we have to work together to identify solutions. I think that in the United States, we look at the fact that the vast majority of our spending on healthcare is paying for the treatment of conditions rooted in poor lifestyle choices. And I always say, well, that's the best news any of us could hear, because it means we can do something about it before it's too late. And I think that we're just seeing this real awakening. And I think that COVID, having just lived through and still in the midst of this pandemic, it's shining such a bright light on the urgent need to address the underlying conditions that are so exacerbating the virus's most harmful effects, and the vast majority of those being lifestyle-related chronic disease. So we are seeing a receptivity that is probably more greatly heightened than ever before. And it's really, we are working hard to bring together parties for consensus, for discussion, for community conversations as it relates to everything from health disparities to reimbursement to quality measures. And we have to be open, and it isn't about, oh, you're bad and you're doing it wrong. We've got to really work together to find solutions, and I'm excited because I'm seeing that happen. And I think that that is being evidenced in the tremendous growth that we're seeing from a membership standpoint to growth of even things that I've just mentioned, like of the Health Systems Council and other things that are brewing within the American College of Lifestyle Medicine and around the world, Victor. I mean, even prior just to hopping on this Style Medicine Council call, and it's just truly remarkable to hear about things that are happening in other parts of the world. I mean, it's tremendous to see what's happening in Mexico and in Great Britain and Australia and in the Philippines and in Brazil and Poland. And the world is awakening to the fact that we cannot, again, just continue to diagnose the ill and prescribe the pill. I mean, while we're grateful for modern medicine, and pharmaceuticals absolutely have their place. Again, we represent conventional medicine docs. They're prescribing medications, but that's not the first approach. The first approach is to treat the root cause whenever possible and to eradicate that root cause. And so it's really, just sort of flipping the treatment model on its head. And I like to say, all things old are new again, because it was Hippocrates over 2,000 years ago, right, that was talking about let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food, and so many other great quotes that are attributed to him. And I think in the true spirit of the Hippocratic Oath, which is to first do no harm. And that is so synonymous with lifestyle medicine. It's a lifestyle medicine first approach to healthcare, which truly does epitomize the Hippocratic Oath.
I love what you just said. And, first, do no harm. It's something that we forget, in the sense that in a world where we are accustomed to quick fixes because we're always running, and because, life has so many expectations and problems. And, we, as health professionals, we tend to fix the first problem that we have in front and assume that that's the role we have. And more as health professionals, parents, educators, just lay people, we are understanding that the health of the planet, the societies, and individual health goes beyond solving quick problems, but thinking about the big humanitarian, almost species wide problems, which obviously is very intimidating because we are so small in comparison to those big things. But at the same time, those big things make us big too, because we are the system and we are life. And if we can, and this is one of my personal agendas with lifestyle medicine, if you let me share, is that I want to, in a sense, pass on the message that the things we do every day, eating, sleeping, resting, loving, are, the most amazing tools for spiritual redemption, in a sense.
It's true.
And that, we believe that that those things are without much consequence. Obviously you see that in chronic disease, but in consequence also of planetary health, in terms of how we consume and how we distribute goods and services around the world. And once we take that as a realization, those big things seem bigger than ever, but we grow to meet those opportunities and not only challenges. So, yeah, just wanted to share that and ask you about how the lifestyle medicine narrative should be open enough and story driven enough so that it inspires more than prescribes what we think we should do.
It is the power of the story. And I mean, we hear this every single day. Not only lives transformed, and that would be lives of providers whose personal lives and professional lives have been transformed, but the patients who will say, just a couple weeks ago, one of our docs was talking about mid 40s male diagnosed with type 2 diabetes 14 years ago, was on meds, just believed that he was destined to have a lifetime of just increasing medical disease management. And he was referred to her, and she worked with him for a couple of months on all the pillars of lifestyle medicine, right? A whole food, plant predominant dietary lifestyle, regular physical activity, restorative sleep, stress management, avoidance of risky substances, and that powerful, healthy social connection. And he changed his diet, began following these prescriptive lifestyle measures, and normalized his A1C, was off insulin. And he said, why had I never heard this before? And it's these stories of hope. And I think that, Victor, it is the inextricable connectedness of what we're talking about today, and not only how it impacts human health, but also planetary health. Because we know that the number one cause of virtually all of our chronic disease, and the number one cause of many of our most pressing global sustainability issues, is one and the same. It very much is tied to our Western industrialized diet, and that which is best for our health is also what's best for the planet and for our ability to preserve our natural resources, to rein in greenhouse gas emissions, and to feed what soon will be nearly 9 billion people on the face of the earth. And that's this shift to a whole food, plant predominant dietary lifestyle. And there's so many other ways that we map the relationship of all the pillars of lifestyle medicine to both human health and to planetary health. And I think it is that, again, that inextricable connectedness that is so motivating and inspiring. And we often say that the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and this would be true for the medical professional associations that represent the field all over the planet, is that yes, we are medical professional associations, but even more so, we are magnets for purpose, passion-driven people who are on a mission to transform health and redefine healthcare.
Amazing. You just reminded me of, Dr. Mark Hyman just published a book a year ago. It's called Food Fix. And, he goes into the systemic approach to understand that the big problems of humanity, might be also, originated through our dietary patterns. But what I wanted to rescue here is that he said that he went into that systemic approach, and he's an MD, but he said, I'm trained to go to look for the causes, not only of your individual choices and your individual health, but why are you consuming the way you're consuming? That's more systemic. And I think that approach is amazing, that we inevitably end up doing. When you are reading about lifestyle medicine, you very quickly get to the point that you're not only talking about what your doctor is assuming it's best for you, but what, in a way, common knowledge and just asking questions will bring you to the fact that everything is interconnected, and that we have been, in a sense, blindsided by the media, by communications, by marketing, by many things, probably not with bad intentions, but that has happened. So that waking up that you're talking about, I think it's great because it's really coming from the inside out, from bottom to top. And that's the way that paradigm shifts happen.
It's so true. And it makes me think about one of your previous guests and one of our past presidents, Dr. David Katz, who's the founding director, well, past director of the Yale Prevention Research Center. And David is just so articulate and eloquent, and often speaks to lifestyle in medicine and lifestyle as medicine. Lifestyle in medicine being that clinical practice, that therapeutic intervention, and lifestyle as medicine of healthful lifestyle choices. And to your point, unfortunately, all too often, the healthy choice is not the easy choice. And I think too that there's so much misinformation and confusion, because there's, hey, confusion and misinformation can be very profitable for a lot of different people. And so again, I think that it's just imperative that we fill the gaping void that exists in medical education where clinicians are concerned. And that has been ACLM's foremost priority in recent years, to invest heavily across the whole education continuum, from pre-professional to undergraduate medical education to graduate to CME, because the vision would be for all medical professionals to be adequately trained in and ideally certified in lifestyle medicine. And that can really start this tidal wave, and it's already beginning. And then it gets back to what we've talked about previously, engaging all the different stakeholders in the community to come together to understand that it took all of us working together to get us into the pickle that we're in right now. And it's going to take all of us working collaboratively together to create a system of sustainable health, sustainable healthcare, and ultimately a sustainable world.
This is so frightening, but at the same time inspiring. And I guess that's the definition of being creative and getting together to face these challenges. That's one of the amazing things of working in lifestyle medicine, which is that you meet amazing people. I'm always joking that I'm in this field not because of lifestyle medicine, but just because of the people who promote it. And I guess that, to start wrapping this conversation, the power of community, and how with community we can definitely do all these things. So how's your experience with ACLM as community builders, as magnets of similar ideas? And how can we leverage that approach to expand the community worldwide?
It's happening. It was back in 2016, the year that I referred to when the American Board of Lifestyle Medicine was established, but that was the same year that ACLM provided the seed funding to start the Lifestyle Medicine Global Alliance, which is now transitioning to the new name of World Lifestyle Medicine Council. And the Lifestyle Medicine Global Alliance was started to become the umbrella that would unite all of the emerging lifestyle medicine medical professional associations around the world. And I think now there's well over 24. And I find that just inspiring to know that it's on every continent of this entire world that there's this awakening, the awakening that people do not, they should not believe the lie that they're a victim of their genes. It's a lie that they're a victim of their genes and they're destined to age and become chronically ill. And, and again, I do refer to it as lifestyle medicine, the message of health, hope, and healing. It's to really empower people to recognize, as Caldwell Esselstyn often says, that they can exercise their internal locus of control to a very large extent to greatly influence their health destiny. And that's what we're on a mission to do. And we know that it's not easy, certainly, and that there are factors, there are cultural factors, there are social determinants of health that influence this in a great way, but we're mindful of these and we're working hard to address these. And I think that we, as a collective force for good, united, really arm in arm globally to address non-communicable disease with this vision of a world devoid of non-communicable disease. I believe that, again, what none of us can do alone, as coming together as a galvanized force for change, we can truly move mountains, and we are doing it. And I'm so grateful to you, Victor, for your leadership in Mexico, and really for your leadership in bringing lifestyle medicine voices around the world to a larger audience. You're helping to amplify and really heighten awareness. And so I'm grateful for that.
Susan, thank you so much for those comments, and also for the inspiration of the last, response that you just gave. And I can't find better words to end this conversation. It's just a continuation of all the conversations that we're having when we're talking, but also when we're not talking and we're just dreaming of a new world, or working 12, 18, sometimes 24 hours a day to make these things happen. So I'm very grateful also for this conversation, and looking forward to keep collaborating and building all the things that we want to see in the world. Thank you so much, Susan.
Thank you, Victor.